Chris here at Keystone Lawn and Tree Care. Thanks for joining us for another lawn care philosophy, the Pareto Principle. And what does it have to do with lawn care? Stay tuned and find out. Thank you out there in YouTube land to Parsville Grail Knight. He is the one that suggested that we talk about this, about the 80-20 effect and the Pareto effect, or the Pareto Principle, or whatever. It's talking about the 80-20 and talking about 20% of the population owning 80% of the wealth, or 20% of the employees doing 80% of the work, or 20% of your client list bringing in 80% of the income. Anyway, you get the idea. So thank you very much for the idea and participating. And so let's talk a little bit about this, the 80-20 effect. Okay, so true story, this just happened to me last week. I had a 20% guy who's doing 80% of the work. He's working hard, he's showing up, he's just kicking butt. And he came to me and he's like, man, Chris, Mr. 80% over here is not pulling his weight. And I am unhappy. This isn't fair. You got to pay me more because I'm working more. And he had a pretty good point. The 20% guy was working way more than this 80% guy. And so he was right. And not only did he say you got to pay me more, in fact, he suggested that we let the 80% guy go. And I was like, we can't just let him go, man. I mean, like he can at least push a mower. I know he kind of stinks on the weed eater and he doesn't really know how to use the larger mowers, but we need a warm body to push the push mower. But even then, he wasn't really doing that good of a job. And so, and the 20% guy, he knew it. And so he's like, you got to pay me more, man. And he one-upped it and he said, you know what? Just let the 80% guy go. Just let him go and pay me more money. And I thought, man, I can't do that. I can't pay you more money and just let this guy go. You're going to be working more hours and I'm going to be having to pay you more. And then I started thinking, I was like, well, I'm only paying him like $3 extra per hour. So at the end of the day, what is that? Like 3 times, say like 9 or maybe 10 hours, or say it's a long day. I'm only paying him $30 extra. The $15 an hour guy at 80%, I was having to pay him for a full day at $15 an hour. So you can do the math on that, right? 10 hours at $15 an hour is $150, or just a $30 increase over here for the 20% guy. So I was starting to think, this might work. So we let him go. We let the 80% guy go, and the 20% guy, I paid him more money, and he worked longer hours because he's having to make up a little bit of time, because we don't have a second guy helping him. But it was a win-win situation. 20% guy got more money, he worked more hours, and I saved a bunch of money because I didn't have the dead weight of the 80% guy having to pay him at $15 an hour for a full day. It's a win-win. So there you go. There's a real-life example of the 20-80 effect when it comes to hiring employees. Incentivizing your folks to get into that 20% echelon, because really we want our whole company to be working at that 20% percentile, is you could be with money. And you're thinking, oh man, I can't afford to pay these guys like an extra $30 per day, Well, yeah, you can. I mean, it's like $150 per week per man. So you got 2 guys in a truck that are both 20%. That's $300 extra you're having to pay per week. Yeah, it feels a little bit high, but again, they're getting things done and they're probably working less hours by the time at the end of the week. They're probably working only like half a Friday because they work so darn good. So you're saving a little bit of money on the back end. And plus, you got no customer complaints, you got no broken sprinkler heads, and maybe they're upselling the customers for more fertilizer or Roundup treatments or, whatever. You got to train these 20% to upsell, so they're going to make you more money anyway. So what's $300 out of your payroll per week when they're earning you so much more money? It's a no-brainer. Let's switch gears from the 20% of employees doing 80% of the work and trying to expand that 20% of employees to the 100% of the company. Let's talk a little bit about the customers. And this idea I read about in the book by Timothy Ferriss, The 4-Hour Work Week. And in the book, he talked about his customers. And let's break this down and kind of give it a lawn care spin. So we got 100 customers, say, and 20% of them are bringing in 80% of the revenue. And what do I mean by that? Well, you got their mowing, you got their fertilizing, you got their spray treatments, you got your shrub trimming, you got your snow removal, you got your little odd jobs that you're doing for them. They're bringing in a ton of revenue. And you know what customers I'm talking about. You all have your favorites. You know, little Miss Jones is a snow blowing client, shrub trimming client, fertilizing client. You spray the beds with Roundup. You know, she just subscribes to everything and she just loves you. She always pays her bill on time. You don't have to run her down to get paid. It's just a wonderful client. You all know what I'm talking about. We wish that we could have 20 percenters, across, but we don't. We have, like, again, the 20-80 effect, right? So now we're talking, let's break down that 80% a little bit. So we got the customers that don't subscribe to your fertilizing. They don't subscribe to the snow removal. They don't subscribe to these extra services that you're providing. And let's say, like 5 or 10 of them, they're just a pain in the butt. Every time they call, you're just like, oh man, so-and-so's calling. I just can't stand this person, but they're paying their bills. And then let's say like 5 or 10 of them, they don't pay their bills, and you always gotta like hunt them down and get the money out of them. And then let's say, maybe 5 or 10 of them, their yards are just terrible. They got big hills, or maybe they got a swale or something. You just hate going to them. And then let's say, maybe you're doing bi-weekly on a few of them. Really, you shouldn't be doing bi-weekly. We can talk a lot about that. But let's just say you got some that are bi-weekly. You only visit there every other week. So you kind of get what I'm going after here. That 80% of the folks, they're not really, some of them aren't really that good. Let's just break down that 80 percentile to say like, probably like 20 or 30% of them, of that 80%, they're just not really very good customers. The other half, the 20 or 40%, they're pretty good. They pay their bill on time. They don't subscribe to your extra services. They don't subscribe to fertilizing, but they pay their bill. Their yards are easy. And you just so the idea is you just put that segment we're talking about on cruise control. Just put them on there. They're nobody special. Cruise control. Just do it. Bill them. They pay. Great. And I hate to say this, but you're going to cut the pain in the butts. They're out. Bi-weeklies. They're out. The yards that you just can't stand, they're out. It sucks to say, because maybe they're neighbors or they're friends or friends of friends or referrals from friends or whatever. Cut that business out. You got to get rid of it. Because again, you're focusing on that 20%. You want to expand. You want your whole 100 client list. You want them to be all 20 percenters, That's what you can do. So yeah, it stinks that you're cutting maybe this 25 or 10 or 15, 20 clients off. But again, you're focusing it on over here, and you're just going to keep upselling. And that segment that maybe wasn't upsold before, but they paid their bills that you're keeping, again, just start upselling them. And it gives you room in your roster to fill with more 20 percenters. I made a video a while back about how losing customers can make you more money. I'll leave a link again in the description below. But you got to do it. You got to reach that 20% to reach your whole segment of 100% of your clients. You just got to do it. All right, you guys get what I'm going after here. The effect of the 80-20 and how it applies to lawn care. Well, I want you guys to subscribe. I want you guys to leave some more comments below. Let's talk about this some more. And with that, we're going to be done for the week. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.